Hi everybody, hope you're well and that you enjoyed the small documentary I made about La Familia Medicina. I've been back in Montreal since about a month now. I've been gathering all the videos together, and while doing this, it became really clear to me that there were some unanswered questions and some subjects I wanted to elaborate more on. So I thought about doing this segment where I could give you some afterthoughts on the subject and give you more information about ayahuasca itself. Now, it's really hard for me to stand before you and take myself seriously. I've only been doing 8 ayahuasca ceremonies, so I couldn't pretend to be very knowledgeable. I am barely scratching the surface of it all. And I've met since some incredible people that are light years away from me when it comes to alternate state of consciousness and information on the subject. There has been researchers talking extensively about ayahuasca and alternate state of consciousness since the 1950s. I'm thinking about people like Terence McKenna or Graham Hancock or Dr. Strassman that wrote the book DMT, The Spirit Molecule, which is about all the research he did on the subject. So the goal with this update video is just to share with you the basic information I know about ayahuasca, which I found essential, and to be responsible about the documentary I release out there and make sure that I share some important safety guides. So the first thing I want to say to you, I guess, is thank you. Thank you so much for your overwhelming reactions to the documentary. To be honest, I was really scared of exposing myself so much to people. But I was mainly concerned about getting myself caught up into some kind of endless debate about religion and drugs and believers and non-believers and all that kind of stuff. But it's been all the opposite. People have been embracing the subject with such an open mind and such an open heart. I was quite pleasantly surprised. And I've been getting emails and questions, and I'm trying to answer them to the best of my knowledge. And it only confirms to me that people are hungry for change. They are looking for tools to awaken. So if somehow the documentary made you feel something, or start some kind of thinking process, or even better, do something about it, I couldn't be happier. So thank you. Thank you for all the nice comments you have been sending me. Now, the first subject I want to cover is that if you are thinking about going to Peru or Brazil to do such an experience, please do not take this subject lightly and read. Do your homework. Now, ayahuasca, the plant itself, is very safe. They have been doing this for quite a long time, and it's been proven to be safe and non-addictive. So you don't have to worry about that. But there are some common sense rules that you have to follow, and the retreat will send you those instructions. So you just have to make sure to read everything and to follow those rules. Now, there's one rule that is very, very important, and it's to make sure that you're not taking any antidepressants while being on the medicine. In fact, you should stop several months before your ayahuasca ceremony. And the reason why I'm saying this to you is that sadly, there is still too many people doing DMT and ayahuasca alone or in a non-safe environment, and this rule might save your life. So be careful and do not take unnecessary risk. Now, other things you might want to take in consideration is that ayahuasca is illegal in most countries. And if you are thinking about doing ayahuasca in your own country, it might be against the law and there might be some consequences. So again, get informed. Also, the most obvious one, I think, is that if you take a bunch of gringos with money and you send them to a poor country on a spiritual quest, there is bound to have some bad stories happening. I mean, it sounds like a recipe for disaster. So since I've been talking about ayahuasca, my friends have been sending me those usual articles that we see on the web saying, hey, what you're doing is dangerous. Do you know that people died in Peru? Do you know that some people got taken advantage of? Well, yeah, I am aware of that, and you should be aware of that too. Before going there, you want to make sure to read as much as possible on the subject. You want to go on forums, you want to go on YouTube where you can find reviews. You want to compare the different retreats and make sure that you are seeking for an experienced shaman. Now, there are too many shamans out there that are not real professionals, and there are people with bad intentions, and there are people that will try to take advantage of you. So sadly, there are still too many people that improvise their trip to Peru, and they do random ayahuasca ceremony with random strangers. And I mean, it's common sense. Be careful. Yeah, I know that for instance, there are some retreats out there that are safe. I know, for instance, that Blue Morpho is probably the most popular and the most expensive one as well. And I know that they do genuine work there. I've been confirmed that they are doing nice work. There are other retreats as well, like Temple of the Way of Light, that have been getting some nice reviews as well. I'm pretty sure that this place is safe too. I'm just back from La Familia Medicina, so I can vouch for them. They are amazing. Now, I'm not trying to sell you one of those retreats. What I'm trying to do is to tell you that you have to be informed and read as much as possible before making a choice. Now, another reason why you should take this subject seriously is that exploring your mind or going into alternate state of consciousness is not something you should do for shits and giggles. I don't think ayahuasca is for everybody, at least not at any given time. It is a process, and that process doesn't start and end with ayahuasca itself. Most people, they prefer taking pills and try to numb their brains out because they cannot face the world, they cannot deal with themselves. And this is the complete opposite. This is the work where you face your fears and you go into your mind. And your mind can be a really scary place. So it's a process that needs to start way before your first ayahuasca retreat. Now, maybe I can tell you a little bit about myself, about my story. It all began 3 years ago, and I was working really, really hard. I was working like 70, 80 hours a week. And at the same time, I was DJing on weekends. Now, thank God I was not taking any drugs, but still, I was really, really tired, and I really pushed my limits. And at the same time, I had a pretty extensive surgery to the face. I had lower and upper jaw reconstruction, which is really, really painful. And I just hit the low point in my life where my energy was completely drained out. So I was trying to go back to my old ways. I was trying to work as hard as I did before. And I was trying to go back to CrossFit. And my body couldn't keep up. My mind couldn't keep up. So I needed to reconfigure my life and to start with something way more mellow. So I started out with yoga. And what started out as being a fitness practice evolved into a spiritual practice. And I have to thank my friend Bram. He is an amazing teacher. I owe him so much. And another friend of mine gave me a book, The Power of Now from Eckhart Tolle. And it's an amazing book. If you haven't read it, I strongly recommend you do. And for a whole year, I was reading this book and trying to absorb and apply those teachings. And a few months later, I was in Thailand doing a 10-day silent meditation retreat, which is the hardest thing I ever done until today, of course. So the reason why I'm saying this to you is that all these steps, all these baby steps, are all part of the process. There are tools that will help you one day throughout your ayahuasca experience. The breathing, the focusing, the discipline, repeating mantras, meditation. They are all tools that will not only calm you down, but give you strength throughout this ayahuasca experience to hold on to. Because when the shit hits the fan, when it's complete chaos in your mind, you need those tools and discipline to hang on. So if you don't have already a spiritual practice, I suggest you start with yoga, a book, meditation, and slowly progress into this path that will lead you someday maybe to an ayahuasca experience. Another thing I want to cover is that in the documentary I'm using the word God and Jesus and hell. And I'm fully aware of the impact of such words and how it can make people completely freak out. Now, I can already hear some people going, oh, this is about religion again. And this guy believes in a guy with a beard on a cloud sending people to hell. I mean, I hear you. We're all fed up with religion. Religion has been doing quite a lot of damage. But I'm not using those words with those kind of references. When I'm using the word God, I'm only trying to describe something that is bigger than myself, or something I don't know of, an energy. So in this way, my point of view on spirituality is not far away from science. I mean, if you start reading and digging into quantum physics, that stuff will melt your brain. I mean, this is out of this world. And quantum physics has been proving since quite a long time the existence of an energy which is beyond the sense of perception. They call this the united field, which is timeless, non-linear, non-separation, where all possibilities exist. And enlightened people has been making reference to this as being pure intelligence, pure creativity, all loving, because they have experienced this united field. Now, I think it's a really reasonable point of view. And in this way, I don't see science and spirituality against each other. Rather than one is able to prove something, and the other one, people are talking about the experience of it. Now, even if you break the message of Jesus, and I'm not talking about the Jesus we're trying to sell you today, like the anti-gay Jesus or all the stupid rules you have to follow. I mean, if you really break down the core of the message, which is love, and if enlightened people has described this united field as being all loving, well, the message is really clear. If you practice love, you get more in touch with that field. So again, I think it's really reasonable, and I don't see it as a really religious thing, and let's not get all caught up into those kind of debates. Now, for the last subject, and maybe the most obvious one, you're probably wondering, how do I feel? How do you come back from such an experience into normal life? And was it all worth it? Now, I know that you've seen me struggle quite a bit, and you probably went like, holy shit, this looks way too hard and scary, and I'm not doing this, I'm not able to do this. Well, you are able to do this. I am not stronger than you. And since I'm back, although I haven't understood everything that happened with my mind, I feel so much more peaceful. I feel strong and fearless and tolerant and loving. And although everything raises new questions and new struggles, I feel like I have new awareness and new tools to manage it. And I've been continuing exploring ayahuasca since I'm back. So hopefully, maybe in a year or two, I will progress and be able to give you much more detail and much more knowledge about this experience. But yeah, I mean, if you are ready for this kind of stuff, I would strongly recommend you do it. And you are able to do it. So don't be too thrown back by the fact that I had a hard time there. So we are today, December 23rd. It's almost Christmas. Christmas is not always an easy time for some people. To you, my heart is with you. And hopefully 2014 will bring you some peace and love. And I love you all, and I wish you a Merry Christmas.